What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from Rogue Ales, and they are headquartered in Newport, Oregon, and this is their Blackberry Honey Kolsch. So this is a Kolsch-style ale with natural flavors. It comes in at 6.2% alcohol by volume, 26 IBUs at the time of review. This can is just under 3.5 months old. So we have a relatively new seasonal release here from Rogue. They released this one back in May. It is their spring seasonal, and it's a take on their Honey Kolsch, which I did review on the channel a couple years ago, and I actually enjoyed quite a bit. I gave it a 4 out of 5. So this adds Oregon-grown blackberries, and I'm here for it. Sounds like a great spring summer beer, and yeah, we're gonna get into it. They have a spiel on the side of the can that I will hopefully remember to read at the end of the review. If not, it should be in the description box. So not super fresh, but when I reviewed that Honey Kolsch, it was about 4 months old. This is just under 3.5 months old. We should be all right, and I could smell the blackberries when I cracked the can. Also, it says with natural flavors, but they do say they use local wildflower honey and, again, Oregon-grown blackberries. So let's give this a pour, and it's kind of pouring out how I expected. I didn't expect this to be like straight on purple, but it does have like a darker hue to it. Do something like that. But yeah, I mean, it smells like blackberry jam as I pour it out. So yeah, so the Honey Kolsch that I reviewed was like pretty much looked like a Kolsch, had that like golden kind of color you would anticipate. Honey really didn't do anything here. Definitely, it has like a reddish kind of like darker vibe to it. It's almost orange-esque, but I can tell there's actual real blackberries in here because it does have that darker hue. Has about 1.5 fingers of this, I would say, light khaki colored head. Pretty creamy looking. It does have a pretty good clarity. Yeah, I can see my hand through the light. On camera, you're probably going to be able to make out the shadow, but probably not the hand individually, but hold it up to the light. Yeah, not a ton of carbonation, decent, not overbearing or anything, but it looks nice. I'd say for something that's going for a Blackberry Honey Kolsch, I think it looks really, really nice. So let's get a nose. Yeah, fresh, sweet, but also like slightly tart blackberries. It's almost blackberry jam-esque. Wow, it smells lovely. If you like blackberries and you smell this, I feel like you're gonna be like, yeah, that's me all day. Not really getting the honey. There is a nice sweetness in here. Again, could be the blackberries, could be the honey, could be just a base malt. A little bit of like a bready, kind of biscuity malt note as well. I can't get over how fresh and intense the blackberries are. Again, just under 3.5 months old. And they did a great job with the nose. Like, this smells awesome. This smells very inviting. Feels like it's going to be quite refreshing based on the nose too. It doesn't, even though I'm saying things like jam, like blackberry jam, it's not over the top with the jamminess. It's just, it's a nice mixture of like sweet, seedy, but also tart blackberries. Yeah, it smells pretty awesome, but I'm always honest with my reviews. It kind of smells like a blackberry fruit beer. Not a blackberry sour ale, but a blackberry fruit beer. There's blackberry for days in this one. I would never be able to call out the Kolsch base in the nose, so we'll see what the taste is all about. Cheers, everyone. Exactly what the nose was indicating. Very refreshing on the palate. First thing I can tell you is this is not sickly sweet. It's not cloying. It's not over the top. The blackberry flavor hits the palate beautifully, and it's like an explosion of blackberry on the palate. But then by the time you get to the finish, everything kind of settles down and you start getting a beer flavor, which is the Kolsch. Go back for another sip, body mouthfeel. But this one's nice. It's like straight up medium body, 6.2%, appropriate. The mouthfeel, it has a pretty solid effervescent kind of feel to it. I would say it's around moderate carbonation, maybe not quite to that level, but it is spritzy to some degree. It is pretty smooth on the palate, but for the most part, I think the carbonation is appropriate. I think the mouthfeel is nice. The body's a little bit more impressive just because of the ABV, and it just has a little bit more heft to it, but it doesn't impede the drinkability. It doesn't impede like the refreshing light nature to this one. The taste, blackberry front to back, again, sweet, seedy, tart. It's really nice. It almost has a jammy, like a blackberry jam-esque kind of quality to it, but it doesn't reach the level, because, you know, jam's sweet. and you put it on biscuit or toast or whatever, it definitely has a sweeter kind of vibe to it. And while this is sweet, it's not like over the top. And it's a lot of times when I use anything in regards to the word jam, I think myself, and I'm assuming a lot of you out there just think it's very sweet, and it's really not that sweet. The honey actually hits on the back of the palate, and it's kind of like this drying kind of honey sensation. Wildflower honey makes that, I shouldn't say dry, more of like a floral kind of honey characteristic on the finish. So blackberry front to back, underlying slight bready, biscuity malt notes. That kind of starts at the front of the palate and then hits me again on the finish, which is where I say those beer properties come in. Not a really complex beer at all. Blackberries, honey, more floral honey, and then a little bit of that bready, biscuity kind of feeling. The finish is bone dry. This is very dry, which is nice. A mild bitterness, not too much bitterness, more dry than anything, but that dryness really helps keep the sweetness at bay, which is why I think it's very well balanced. And I will say that it's not like super tart or anything. It just has a nice tartness to it to let you know they are using real blackberries as opposed to anything else. One more sip and I'm gonna lock in a rating. Good glass lacing as well. What I'd say about this one is if you like blackberries and you want something that is both thirst quenching, refreshing, but also quite tasty, this would be one to seek out if they release it again. I think they released this one for the first time this year. The Honey Kolsch has been around for a while, so this is just like a variant of that Honey Kolsch. It'd be cool to see them do different variants of this one with different berries, maybe different fruits. I could see maybe like a raspberry or a strawberry, or like, I think marronberries are pretty popular in Oregon. Something like that would go really well with this base Kolsch. I think they did a great job with it. 6.2%, you really can't tell. Nice beer as a whole, so I'm gonna lock in a rating here. I gave the Honey Kolsch a 4 out of 5, and that was a good beer. I think this is slightly better. So Blackberry Honey Kolsch from Rogue, I'm gonna give this a high 4 out of 5 with 4.1. Did a really nice job with this one. The only downside is what we're going to talk about in about 10-15 seconds, which is the price point on this one. The price point on this one, a little bit more expensive than the regular Honey Kolsch, which is to be expected. Let me read the back of this one before I forget. It says, discover the untamed spirit of Oregon with our Blackberry Honey Kolsch. This Kolsch-style ale is a vibrant fusion of local wildflower honey and Oregon's finest blackberries, creating a symphony of subtle floral and fruity notes with that perfectly balanced with hops and malts. Yes, for sure. Like Pacific Northwest summer, it's bright, slightly sweet, and all too fleeting. Taste the adventure of Oregon in every sip. Yeah, I mean, they pretty much nail it, and they have the little star tasting note thing that Rogue does on the can, which you can see right here. So it has bitter, fruity, tart, sweet, and malt, and everything is towards the fruity and tart side with a little bit to the sweetness and almost nothing to the bitter and malt. Yeah, I mean, outside of like that bready kind of biscuity malt character, not much else going on in the bitterness. I said almost none. And they also say it pairs well with grilled salmon, ice cream, and backyard barbecue. Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, pretty damn good. 4.1 out of 5. Price point, here's where it goes a little bit wonky in comparison to the Honey Kolsch. And again, this is all in the Buffalo, New York area. This was $14.99 a 4-pack. I think I paid like $4 for that can. So, you know, that's a bit pricey, especially when the Honey Kolsch, I believe, was $11 a 6-pack or maybe $12 6-pack. Now, that was 12 fluid ounce can. This is a 16 fluid ounce can, but still, this is a bit more pricey, but they are adding blackberries. So maybe not over the top, just a little bit pricey. I'd like to see this more in like the $12.99, $13.99 range, but again, it's gonna be different where everybody is. I think closer to the West Coast and in the Pacific Northwest, probably be a bit cheaper. Here in New York State, Rogue is almost always known to be a little bit more expensive. Availability, I don't know with Rogue. All I know is this is their spring seasonal, and it's still on the shelves here in the middle of August. So if you do see this one and you like blackberries and you like Kolsch's, give it a go. Although, to be honest with you, the Kolsch gets kind of lost. But I kind of knew that going into this one, that the blackberry would kind of dominate. And I was going to say I'm not too disappointed. I'm not actually disappointed at all. I'm actually happy. I like blackberries, and that's why I kind of picked this one up. So if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. I think it's a nice, like I said, variant. Hopefully they release other variants down the line, because I think they have a good base with this the Honey Kolsch. I really like the Honey Kolsch. This one's nice, so I think I just like the series as a whole. So anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.